Just giving it a few more minutes here, guys. Just waiting, letting the stragglers join, if there is any today.
Crazy idea.
What's that?
If like at the beginning of our sessions, when everybody shows up, because you never really know who's going to be there, right? Like, if we all had this intro where you were like the hype man, you were like in the house on Wednesday, and then everybody got like a 10-second little like solo.
Like, give it up for Brian.
Like, it's like our old little.
That has to happen now.
I'm like, and then for myself, Corey.
It's a Zoom shed. No, we got to come up with a different name for shedding, because shedding, based on what we've been talking about, maybe it's not really this, but it has like a little bit of like kind of like a competitive, almost negative thing, but it's not. But like a shed that's just like more encouraging, like the energy that you brought.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, man. Shedding is I've been thinking about this a lot. Like shedding is sorry. Shedding is becoming its own thing, like where I was telling somebody yesterday that it's like not even it's like a different I don't know how to explain it. It's not, these guys aren't really like trying to get in a band, or they're like not trying to like, I don't know. They're doing it for different reasons. They're not trying to become like these accomplished drummers. They're just trying.
My theory?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Cora. I was just going to say, my theory is that it evolved from like drumline drum battles, where it's like that same kind of framework of, oh, okay, I'm going to go up, and then your guys are going to go up, and then my guys are going to go up, and it's like that same. There's not really another place for people who really develop that skill set in a really intense way. And when you're in a drum corps, I feel like it's all about like, oh, it's our corps versus the other corps, and then you kind of lose that sense of, oh, well, who am I going up against? Especially when it's like in the context of like football games and stuff like that. It's very competitive, very much a team sport. And then you take that energy onward, and you still need a place to feel like, oh, I'm competing against people, because sometimes that for some people that's the only framework that really drives them to do the most intense playing that they do.
I think that's what it is. These aren't like, that's exactly what the mentality is though. It's these guys aren't like, they're not drum corps guys. They're not like, they don't have like it's not that skill, but it's that mentality where it's like it's like, okay, like shedding has become its own thing, like its own genre. So these guys aren't like, hey, I want to be like the best jazz drummer, or I want to be able to get into Berkeley, or it has nothing to do with that. It's just, I just want to get enough skills that I can show up at a shed and like kill the other dude. That's like, it's like video game like mentality or something, or it's just, their whole focus is just getting these it's blowing my mind, because it's totally changed the drum world,
It's kind of cool, because it's cool and not cool, depending on which side of the coin you're looking at, because it's really specific. And what I wonder, I haven't witnessed or been a part of any sheds. I might have seen them happen. I can't even think of one, but I'm like, is it musical? Because there's so much in the drum world, where there's like drumming that's not very musical, but it's like, look what I can do.
No, dude, it's straight up shoes and a dryer. the whole time.
Right.
But it's but I still think it's cool. It's not it's not as negative as I make it out to be. It's because I show up at sheds and I try to jump in and I want to jump in more, but I practice now. Like my mentality has changed, like where I'm like, well, it's I'm not like I feel like there's guys where that's all they do is
Right.
just they practice, then they go to a shed and they jump in and they play all these 1,000,000-mile-an-hour fast licks, and then they go home and practice again for the next shed. And it's not even an issue of like, yeah, man, I want to get into a band, because you hear these dudes. Like I heard the main dude that throws the shed on. He posted a bunch of videos of him playing a gig, and it's like, dude, he's great. He's an amazing player, but it's like way over the top, like these crazy outlandish drum fills, and like he's super overplaying.
Right.
That's his forte. That's what he does, and so it's, man, I don't know. It's caused this whole gospel chop thing and all of that stuff, and then seeing all these YouTube videos of all these guys going ham, and like it's created a whole new, like, not a revolution, but it's created like its own genre, its own scene, where it's strictly that. It's like, I don't know how else to explain it. It's like when sorry, this is only I can't think this morning, but it's like when freestyle motocross came out, and it was like, now that's its own thing. Sorry, that's only for Brian. Me and Brian are like on the motocross connection, but it's like its own thing, right? And then guys are strictly not even practicing racing anymore. They're practicing for that,
I wonder if that's how like horn players in like the 40s were playing when bebop was coming out. It's like, man, all these guys do is they sit and they practice for the next bebop jam. They go home, they play all their licks, and they go.
It's like it's suddenly not about classical anymore or whatever. It's like, yeah, it's. I think that's how it is. It's like these guys are just. It's so crazy though that this is what drumming is now, where it's just like this very niche.
I feel like it's a numbers game. Just like, so many things on social media or YouTube where it's like, okay, if I have 6 seconds to impress somebody, am I going to impress somebody with a slow groove, or am I going to have to play as many notes as possible as quickly as possible? Like it's all about how do you capture somebody's attention instantaneously.
Yeah. It's these guys got 2 or 4 bars to like give you everything they got. And that's why it's just, I mean, it's amazing. Some of these dudes are amazing at like what they can put together, these combos, but it's like that there still is, it's like, I see right away, they're lacking a lot of facility. They have no like dynamic range. Their hands normally are very fast, but then you slow that lick down and their hands are like really sloppy. They don't, and there's like no musicality at all. There's no like, these guys don't dig deep on like Brazilian rhythms and Latin rhythms and like rudiment stuff. And like, it's like just combos at full volume, like triple forte as fast as you can, and like, there's a lot missing in like the rhythmic scale. Like locking into the pocket, there's a lot missing where I'm like, whoa, dude, like, but then like all their licks are like, wow, that just blew my mind. Like I can't do that.
I think it's cool how like that's a wicked subgenre of music and of drumming specifically, and I think it's cool how those types of things evolve, like, and just really become what they are. People play music and drums for all different reasons. And if you get enjoyment out of it, like I'm assuming the people that do it get something out of it. Otherwise, why would they do it? Whether it's pride or pleasure, whatever. But I don't know. We're all here. I mean, we could, if we all listed our reasons for being here in Chops and Coffee and just for why we play drums, I'm sure we'd have overlap, but maybe we'd have some individual. I want to be the best musician I can be, which is say, but like I don't care about how good of a drummer. It's like,
Well, the thing is, man, I have my opinions about it, and I still think it's very cool. It's still a very cool thing for our community, for the drum community. It's something that it's how our drum community is evolving. And I encourage anybody to go show up at a shed, man. Your weaknesses will be uncovered in like 0.2 seconds. I mean, like for me, that's how it is. Unless your thing is shedding, I'm like, I know how weak of a drummer I am right away, and then, but I also know how strong of a drummer I am in other avenues, so it really helps you with like facility, thinking on your feet, bringing like putting your best foot forward as best you can, and then overcoming. You're being put on blast, kind of like in front of all these other drummers, so you have to rise to the occasion. It's very useful.
How many people in here have actually been to or participated in a shed?
No?
Not like a drum shed.
Okay, so this is a totally different. This is what I'm saying. This is like a room full of musicians, and there's a difference. And so, but Jeffrey, like it uncovers your weaknesses. You have to like step up your game.
Yeah, depending on the like the ambiance, like you said, depending on the attitude, depending on the players and the musicians that are there, it could be something super enlightening, or it could be something that just like depresses the crap out of you. So,
yeah, and I talk negative about it because of like how much I'm like all about everybody feeling accepted, but I haven't really had that negative of an experience at a shed. It's always fun. It's always a great hang. It's always like there's always comments that you feel inferior at times, but like it still is a really good thing. And at the end of the day, man, it's kind of the direction of like every young drummer I know. That's the direction, is like
if it gets people in, it gets people in. I consider it kind of like we say shedding for drums, but like shredding for guitar. Back in the 80s, remember like shredding was the thing, and people like it had like this reaction. People were like, "Oh, I don't like it at all," but it got so many people into it. And like I see all these interviews with guitar players that are really great. They're like, "Yeah, I got into it because of this shredder, and now I'm learning." Then I went back and figured out all the blues players and all this stuff. And like,
that's the important thing is
get them in.
Once you've reached that point where you're like, oh man, I love this shredding, I love this chop, this really choppy stuff. Then the people who become the musicians are the ones who say, okay, what is that, and how can I get there from where I am? Instead of, oh man, the only thing that I want to do is be able to do that. Instead, how do I do that whole package from beginning to end?
I feel like
that's just the mentality thing.
What it is to like what it's becoming is like it's like if you're a boxer and then you're like you only want to spar, and then you want to get super good at sparring so you can like outdo your coach. And so all you do is focus on sparring, and you're not even worried about the fight. You're not even worried about being an all-around boxer. You're just worried about sparring and what combos you can put together for the spar. I feel like that's what shedding is, and it's becoming like the thing. It's not becoming like, they're preparing. It used to be about getting better and then using your new licks, learning licks from the other guy that you're shedding with, and then using that on your gigs or whatever at church or whatever. But now it's just becoming like that. These guys just watch YouTube and get as many chops as they can and play them as fast as they can and keep building on that chop and that chop and that chop, and then they just spar against each other and become the best drummers in the world.
Hey, before we start, because I figured we're getting close to that point, I was just wondering who Adam is. And
I was going to say that. Welcome, Adam.
Like, how did he find us?
Sorry, man. I don't think you were here. I introduced him. Adam's a good friend of mine, and we've known each other for probably 20 years, I'd say.
Cool.
And if you guys get a chance to talk to Adam at some point, he's got a really unbelievable story, and he's into some really deep shit that's really cool.
Nice. I've been interested in all of your stick tricks while we're talking.
Your Instagram, you look like a monster, man.
A monster? I am large. I'm 6'8". But man, thanks for having me here. I love everything I'm hearing. And stick tricks, I'm just trying to get blood into the tips of the fingers. But man, yeah, I'm here to listen. I want to check this out. You guys, man, please go on.
We're talking more than normal today, but it's so normally we're warming up by now. But yeah, man, welcome. I just want to mention every time anybody new comes in, I always mention what we're about and what Drum Brigade is about. So I'm Corey, and my company's Drum Brigade, and the Drum Brigade is just the core values of Drum Brigade is acceptance and belonging. And so camaraderie over competition. That's why we're talking about shedding and like negative stuff that comes out of that. But everything that I try to do, I try to, help everybody to feel welcome and feel that they belong behind their drums, feel that they belong in this community and never feel inferior. And so I always say that we should never feel inferior doing what we love. We love playing drums, and I don't feel like anybody should make me feel that I don't play drums, So that's basically what this is about. It's just a simple warm up. Often we do some warm ups and some workout stuff for drumming, and we chat like we do and have coffee, and it's just a drum hang early in the morning, starting off our day doing something that we love to do. So that being said, welcome, Liam. That being said, we're going to do a simple warm up here first to start. This is the Ed. I can't say the last name, but I think it's from Dave.
The Ed Shaughnessy?
Yeah. Shaughnessy, yeah.
I've been doing this one.
Okay, so this one, let's do just the first two. I'm not going to try to do that bottom one again. Let's do the first two, but this time, let's try to play our eighth note ostinato on our feet. Okay, so between our hi-hat and so let me get rid of this. So eighth note ostinato between our feet. So kick drum on the beat, hi-hat off the beat. So like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and if that's too easy for you, of course you can do the samba ostinato. So like 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 1, a 2. That's up to you. I'm gonna stick with the eighth note, and then we're gonna play these first two bars as written. So we're going to play it for 2 minutes, and then we're going to switch to the left. So it's all rights for the first two bars as triplets with the accents, and then it's all lefts as triplets with the accents. But we'll stop after that. We'll have a sip of coffee, and then we'll move on to our left. Everybody with me? Everybody good? All right, cool. Eighth note ostinato on our feet. That's not written in, but we'll make it happen. Let me get a timer here. What's a good tempo to do this at? Let's see. So does that sound like a good tempo to start us off? That might be a little fast, but let me know. Let's try it out. Let me know if that's a little fast for us this morning to start our warm up on. All right, here we go. 2 minutes. Right hand. 1, 2. Starting with my feet. And here come my hands. 1, 2. Oh, hold on. Sorry. I don't have my thing. 1, 2. Ready, go. Halfway there. 30 seconds. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, stop. Ah. Woo. That'll get the blood flowing.
Corey, out of curiosity, what is that tempo?
That's 100. 100 beats per minute. That might be a little struggle for me on my left at 100.
Now you have to twirl your right stick the whole time you're doing the left one.
And say your ABCs while you're doing it. All right, you guys ready? Here we go. Starting with my feet first. 1, 2, ready. Hey. Oops. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. 1, 2. Starting with my left. Nice angle there, Dave. Ah. Ah, man, come on. Halfway. Thirty seconds. All right. 1, 2, ready. Woo. You know, that one, it's very simple, but man, you're like, my arms are burning by the end of that.
Yeah, man, it's push-ups.
Yeah, exactly.
I love these things.
I don't know if you guys ever did this in school, but I would always have these like gym classes where they'd make you do these little circles like this. That's what it feels like. It's like the easiest thing in the world for the first 10 seconds. And then by the end of like 20 seconds, you're like ready to kill yourself. All right, cool. All right. So I like that one too, putting that eighth note against that that triplet. That thing is there's this like Brazilian thing that I'm trying to work on. I don't know if that's what you were doing over there, Ryan, but that's what it looked like to me. I can't do it right now, but it's there's this like Brazilian rhythm, that 3/2 thing that's like and that's how you get that that Brazilian feel, but I haven't been able to master that yet. It's like my number one goal. I love Brazilian music so much. All right, moving on. Which one should we do first? This one's a pretty cool one. This is something we haven't done before, but it's pretty self-explanatory, so I'll explain.
Just a quick tip for the last one that we did. Just to save some time, I like to do if I can't do each hand separate, I do both hands at the same time.
I was thinking about that. Yeah.
And then try not to, and then that also helps try not to flan.
Yes. So doing that, I was gonna suggest that too. Next time we can do that and save time, but you don't want to flam.
Yeah. So then you're forced to work, either get your weaker hand going a little faster, or discipline yourself to like slow down your dominant hand to get.
Yeah. Yeah. If you start flamming, then you know, yeah, you'll know right away. So 2 minutes at the same time. That's a really good exercise. Let's try that one next time. And like with the samba is really, really hard, man. It's really cool. All right, so this one, you guys can apply the same thing. You could still do the eighth note ostinato if you want, or you can do the samba ostinato or whatever you want on your feet. I'm gonna just do the hands. So this is a flam accent, but it's played over 16 notes. You're doing, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 flam accents, then 2 flam taps, and then you repeat. So flam accent, flam accent, flam accent, flam accent, flam tap, flam accent, flam accent. Slow. Up. All right, so Brian, this is another one that's going to feel like triplets. Even though it is written over 16 notes. I don't know if I want that accent. There we go. No, I don't want that. It won't let me. So how are we going to do this? Let's see. Okay, let's go a little slower. Everybody got this? Anybody have any questions about this? The sticking's telling you what's really going on here. If not, you can still just do singles and then doubles at the end. So like a single stroke roll for 1 eanda, 2 eanda, 3 eanda, and then 4 eanda doubles. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, double, double, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, double, double. If you can't do the flams, if you want to do the flams, then you'll be right there with us and it'll sound like us. So up to you. The accent pattern is going to be hard to keep that at ostinato, but let's give it a shot. Let me change this. Let's start at 70. So, all right, here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Halfway. Last one. Not bad. You have such a fluid style and technique over there, Ryan. I love it. All right, let's go a little faster on this one. Let's try this again. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Halfway. 2 more. Last one. Yeah. All right, very good. How's everyone doing on this one? After a while, you start hearing those accents. All right. Here we go. 1, 2, ready. Halfway. Two more. Ah. Gosh, man. I still can't do it. I still can't talk and say it. Nice job, man. I saw everybody out there. That's 100 beats per minute, 16 notes with the flams. Nice. Nicely done. This one right here gets me at that tempo. My left, man. My stupid left. That's why these things are good. Dude, Sam keeps getting cut out. I don't know what's happening. All right, so yeah, that's a good one.
There we go.
There you are.
Yeah, my internet's all over the place. I had to leave and get back on my phone on my like cell service.
It's all good. All right, that's a good one. I like that one, man. That gets those intricate flams, man. You know, and with that accent pattern is really nice. So very cool. Okay, one more. Stop sharing. This one might be a little bit slower for me, but let's see. This one gets a little confusing for me, but same vein, another rudiment exercise to start off. We're really focusing on the rudiments today, but all right, so this is like what is this called? It's like a dragadiddle. So you guys understand that this is like it's a paradiddle for a bar, but we have the drag on the first note. So, all right, then it changes to that same accent pattern that we had in the last one. So, and then you do that for the first 3 beats, and then you're on to left-handed dragadiddle again, and then it repeats. But then it repeats opposite, I believe. Yes. So then you just keep alternating this. So when you get to where is it? When you get to this, for some reason, repeating for me is weird to remember that I have to do a dragadiddle here. Any questions? Everybody with us? Anybody not know how to do this? Okay, good. If you guys cannot do the drag or this diddle thing here, then just stick with paradiddles. You can put an accent here instead of this drag. So paradiddle, 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 paradiddle. Then try singles with these as accents. So okay. So just keep it simple. Paradiddle, 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 single, 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 paradiddle, 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 single, 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 paradiddle. All right. So let's try this. Let's slow this way more down. Back to 70. So let's try it. Here we go. Also, you guys can still do that ostinato if you'd like. I'm sticking with hands. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Halfway. Last one. Not bad, not bad. Okay, I got through it a little better than I thought. How's everybody doing on that one? Everybody still good? Is this too easy for everyone, or is this good? Okay. Let's go. Let's not go super fast, but let's just go up to 80.
I'm good with each individual section, but I always stumble when I change lines.
Yeah, it's the same for me. For some reason, even though I'm doing a dragadiddle right here, that's right? A dragadiddle? I think so. Even though I'm doing it right here, it's really, I have to think about continuing to do it here. It's just how our brains work. But once you get down with these patterns, then try to think about the rhythm. You know, then that allows you to shut your brain off and just play the rhythm. All right, here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Halfway. Ah. Last one. Either way, I think that we've all of us that have been coming to Chops and Coffee, we've improved on a lot of this stuff. This kind of stuff would have been giving me trouble, like, before, like a year ago. But we're constantly looking at this stuff 3 days a week. This kind of diddle rudiment stuff, and taking it a step further, playing flams instead, and doing all that stuff. And I see, and then this would have been something where, I would have been stumbling through, and everybody would have been, so it's cool that we've all made progress. I can see it. Let's attempt one more. Let's go to 90. I'm saying attempt one more for me, because I'm not sure if I can do it. All right. So actually, I want to bump that up to 95. Let's try it. All right, here we go. 1, 2, ready. Last one. Yeah. That definitely deserves a
yay.
Nice one. Oh man,
that one's really good for what you were talking about Wednesday today, right? Monday, with the muscling the doubles and bouncing the doubles.
Yeah. That's a perfect. Yeah, that you're right. That's a perfect example where you're like bouncing the first diddle and then you're muscling the diddle of the paradiddle, right? So that's this is a great stick control exercise. Especially because it's alternating. I love the idea of that. I love when exercises or warm-ups or chop builders, whatever you want to call them, are they force you to use both hands the same and make them sound the same. That was a big thing. I don't know if you guys know who Evan Stone is, the Evan Stone, the drummer. Okay, there's another dude that's named Evan Stone, but anyways, he was my teacher for a while, and he's a great jazz drummer here in LA and Orange County. That he was like, that was the thing that he was like focusing on with me forever. Like he would make me shake his hand left-handed. He would make me open the door left-handed. He'd make me brush my teeth left-handed, eat soup left-handed. Yeah, what was that? That's cool. You're muted. We can't hear you.
Yeah, man, I totally agree with that. I've been fucking around with just clapping with the left hand. Like, just, you always clap this way, and then I start that, and I'm like, God, I suck at this. So I've just been like trying to do rudiments like that, like doubles and singles, and I found like it helps the left hand. Yeah. You're totally right.
The singles doubles paradiddle thing that we often use as our warm-up, we do that with the ostinato as well. Doing that, he was really like, he would really like harp on me about that. Like, okay, look, if I was to put on headphones and just listen to you play that, I shouldn't be able to tell the difference between any of those rudiments. And it's so obvious, like you could tell exactly which one was the double, which one was the paradiddle. For me, it was just so obvious. I was accenting the first note of the paradiddle, and so he's like, when it's very hard to do that, but it should all sound like 16 notes or whatever notation you're using, but and so, and now it's like, I'm saying the same thing, even though I never really was able to really get it perfect, but it's like, that's that thing where you just want your hands to work equally the same way. We all aspire to be ambidextrous, right? So, very cool. Okay. So that's all the chop or the warm-ups I have for this morning. And now, it's open. You guys can share whatever you want, or you guys can always share whatever you want. But if you have any chops or anything like that you want to share, I was thinking about this just now. I always have this. I love this like left-handed paradiddle. Like it's kind of in 5/16 notes. So so that was like that was my chop. So it's a kick. So it's left-handed paradiddle. With a kick at the end. So it's 5 groupings of 5. So I like to use that as like a grouping of 5, like fill. So like kind of fast. I have pads on my drums. Sorry, guys. It doesn't sound as cool with the pads on, but I always love that one, man. It sounds cool. I don't know if I'm doing it it depends on the tempo, I guess, but. And then I'm accenting like the first 2 notes of the paradiddle. So, and then the diddles are as ghost notes. Anyways, left-handed paradiddle. Anyways, that's too early. 2, 3. I have it written out. That would be 16 notes. I think I have this on the Google Drive. It's written up there. Something like about my favorite fill in five or something. That's 16 notes. If I'm doing it like in a solo or something, I'll try to, or at a shed, we'll do it as like maybe 30-second notes, but like it's like it's groupings of 5, so it's like kind of over the bar, you know. But I don't know how it works out that way. I didn't write it out to you. Yeah. All right. Well, anyways, that was wrong too. I have to work that out, but that's the chop. That's the vibe. So left-handed paradiddle with a kick on the end to make it 5 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can add a diddle at the end and make it like triplets. I have to write that out too. I just threw that through, like I just like was thinking about that chop because we're doing those paradiddles, and I just started like thinking like, oh man, I forgot about that cool thing. All right. Anyways, guys, I think we've done that one before, but it was a long time ago. So, yeah. All right. So, how's everyone's week going? How's everybody's drumming going? Ryan. I mean, sorry, I kept calling you Ryan. It's Adam. Sorry, Adam. So they said you had an amazing story.
Yeah, I'm sort of figuring out the best way to talk about it. And I've been kind of really private about it for a long time. And
you don't have to share if you don't want to.
Yeah. But I'm just trying to be a little more public in general. I guess I've been a bit of a hermit, and Dave knows more about it. But yeah, this is, first of all, this is awesome. You guys do this 3 times a week, warm up your bodies together, you talk. This is just freaking awesome. So
cool, man.
Yeah, I guess there's one thing that keeps striking me. It's this idea of drum education, and I see the man cave there, and so like there's this idea of a campfire, the cave, and the watering hole in our drumming. And so the campfire is like somebody learned who's just talking about what they've done, and then there's also the cave, which is where we all go to practice, and then there's the watering hole, which is where you all kind of congregate and talk about what you just learned or what you checked out at these 2 different places. And that's what this is. And so, yeah, when you were talking about shedding drummers, those guys seem like, oh, they're like cave people. They're like in the cave. They're like colleagues against virtually everything. You know, they're like cave people, really. And so then I don't know, that's the way I see it. Like they're just so obsessed with that one thing. And so I like how you're trying to incorporate like small groups of people talking about that, and then also just, I don't know, trying to bring it into our lives as musicians. So
I love that, man.
This is awesome. I love what you guys are doing.
Cool. Thank you, man. Thank you. And thank you for coming, man. It's cool to have somebody else in here and somebody else's interpretation, you know, and it's very cool.
Adam, if I can say, Adam does a lot of really amazing studying and talking about like mind and body connection and how it relates to improving drumming. And every time I talk to him, I just learn a ton, and I think it's really fascinating stuff.
That is amazing, man. That is a subject that I'm like so interested in. I talk you guys have all heard me talk about like sports like analogies and how we can shut our brain off and accomplish a lot of things. And I'm sure you know a lot more than I do, but there's a drummer that I cannot think of his name now. This always happens with me, but he's studying the same thing. Mark something. And he came on my podcast, and he was talking about and so he was likening it to like dancers and how our brain works similar to that, and there hasn't been a lot of study in drumming and all that.
Dude, what's his name?
It's Mark
Juliana.
No. It's not Mark Juliana. It's he's a he's a teacher. I believe
that Mark Wahlberg was a secret drummer.
I think he's like a teacher at in Philly, and It might come to me down the road. I can't remember.
Yeah, I'll hit you up after, man. When you think of it, please let me know.
Yeah. He's right. I think he's writing a couple books about that, or he's written a couple books about this study, and it was a fascinating. Like, we only had him on the show for like 40 minutes, and I was like, I want to just have like a 4-hour show with you, man. Like, and just talk.
Does he talk about somatics, perhaps, or embodiment, or? I
think so. Yeah. If I remember, it was a while ago, but yeah, he was. I don't know specifically, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, man. I would love to be able to talk about just a little thing that has to do with that.
Please.
I've kind of been sussing it out here. This is my little 10x10 shed where I work on myself and my drums, and so there's just this kind of thing I've been processing, like drums being the most measurable movement in the world and in history. Right now it's the most measurable because it's like physically measurable, and it's sonically measurable, and it's temporally measurable. And then also there's new ways that we can measure our internal structure emotionally. So there's heart rate variation, which is how much your heart fluctuates from beat to beat dependent on your emotional state. And so if you wear a heart monitor, you can check out where your heart is at and how your emotional state is fluctuating. It's measurable, calculable. And so when you combine all four of these things, you can really get in touch with how your drumming relates to your emotional state. And so you can look.
You're saying, Adam, when I talked to you yesterday, you're saying you're basing a lot of this off of that Steve Gadd quote, right?
Yeah. That was the premise of it. I remember him saying in this interview, like, the key to drumming is being able to not let your emotions affect your time. And I was like, oh, wow, that's heavy. He obviously works for him, you know? So, I mean, and it's like, well, okay, where is that? How can I find more on that? And I don't see it. And so I'm trying to find other people who see it, and I don't see them either. Like, to really make that connection between your emotional state and your tempo and your movement and your sound. And I mean, and so you can get more in touch with your emotional state by monitoring your heart rate variability. And so when you breathe in, your heart beats faster. When you breathe out, your heart beats slower. The rate of your breath and how long you hold your breath, it all affects your heart rate, and your heart rate affects your rhythm. And so it makes sense as drummers to monitor that as part of our practice. But I've been doing it, and I've had a lot of interesting findings doing it. And now cool. I want to like kind of have other people come over and do that. And so I've been I asked John if I'm sorry, Dave Johnstone, if he'd
no problem, Ryan.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I've been doing it all myself over COVID and sort of figuring it out for myself. And now I want to try to it's fascinating to me to apply these somatic intelligence training techniques to drumming, because then you can monitor your heart rate, and there are just thousands of ways that you can control your emotional state with physical cues and just breathing exercises and all kinds of sort of stress resilient treatments.
This is so cool. Like, Brian, dude, this is like, Brian has been talking like about breathing in rhythm. So like breathing in triplets or breathing in 16th notes or something like that. I wonder how that would affect that.
Yeah, your breath it's very BPM dependent. There are just like certain BPMs that reach certain different conscious states. It's based in shamanic drumming, and it's also based in polyvagal theory, which is the most kind of recent neurobiological research that's to date, really. Wow. And that's what I've gotten into, is just these people who are really pushing the envelope on our nervous system and how memory, implicit and explicit, lives in the body, and how we might remember one thing one way, but our body feels it another emotionally. And I mean, so these motions and everything we have connected with this instrument biologically, psychologically, sociologically ends up in our nervous system, and it affects our time. And so if you can like monitor that and calculate that, you can really get a feel on how to reach that zone where you're just like emotionally up, like you're kind of in a sympathetic nervous system state a little bit, but you're still within this range of resilience that you can keep the time.
Wow.
So anyway,
like I said, you can keep shit.
Yeah.
Man, that's incredible. Like, it's blowing my mind right now, but
awesome. It's very simple. Like, I mean, if somebody were to come over, I'd put the chest strap on them. I would show them how their breathing is relating to their heart rate. I would record them in Logic. You take 3 cameras and you put them in boxes on the screen. You put Logic screenshot and you see how many milliseconds ahead, how many milliseconds behind according to your heart rate. Or you play without a click and you measure the space between the beats and you see how that relates to the space between the beats and your heartbeat. as your heart beats at a different tempo than you're drumming. And so like in the nine, like I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot. Do you mind if I go on with one more little one?
Please.
So, yeah, okay. So like the most recent studies are finding that our chest or our kind of lungs and heart are telling our brain 4 times a second to look for threat. That's kind of how we have evolved as humans. And so that's an important tempo, because if that aligns with the like kind of searching for threat and kind of soothe that kind of hyper awareness that we have as drummers to what we're doing, then that's an important tempo, and that's 120, 240 area. And so then there's more of a contemplative kind of tempo that tends to be the 80s to the 90s. And so if you know what tempo you're playing and you're breathing in tempo, you can know, oh, okay, at this tempo, I'm breathing in this beat, I'm regulating my body at this rate. And so that's totally, I mean, Brian, you're totally right. Like the tempo you breathe affects your emotional state, which affects your playing.
I think that like,
the tempo of like 120 and 240, would that be also related to like 60 BPM being like a resting heart rate?
Yeah. So that's the parasympathetic response, so the rest and digest. And so then there's another sympathetic response that's new. It's the hypoarousal, which is sort of it's a freeze response. It's a tension response when you feel like you've hit a point in your sympathetic nervous system rate where it's hopeless. Like you hit a wall, like, oh, I can't fucking do this. And you kind of dive into this hypo neurological state. And that brings a whole different level of sort of physiological responses. And so when you recognize those happening, you can go, oh, I'm just in hypo, instead of, God, I fucking suck, I'm an imposter. It's like you just have a much better awareness of how your biology is affecting your psychology.
That's really cool. I come from an addictions background, and my wife diagnosed with PTSD, and so we haven't learned that scientifically as much as what you're going down, but it's basically the same thing. It'd be like to use it within life too. For myself, I had addictions like back in the day, and so every day I'm constantly paying attention to my breathing, and that's like a spirit playing. And your brain's always looking for danger. And so when you teach your brain to go to the same thing every day, and that can happen in the playing, I guess, right? We get up on stage in front of people nervous, so we play the same. Now we're re-teaching ourselves to just get on a different vibration. That's really interesting stuff, though, man.
Fuck, brother, you hit it. Well, I was diagnosed with PTSD in 2016. And so since then, it was from an accident I had on a gig. I walked through a glass door and cut up my hands. I have nerve damage in my right hand. Wow. And so it's just been this constant working against figuring out how to get my left and right to play fucking unisons, because I always had this, like, I couldn't even like play the hands together for a long time. And so I've just developed these kind of convoluted ways of getting that to happen. And then I realized everything I'm doing is totally based in somatic experiencing practice, which is a trauma therapy. I've just been applying trauma practices and techniques to drumming for the last 4 years, trying to for myself, just because I needed it. Because, oh man, brother Daryl, man, you got to check out Gabor Mate.
I know him. He's amazing.
Yeah, dude.
Man, Adam, dude, thank you so much for sharing all this stuff, man. This is so enlightening and so interesting, at least for me, and also a little bit of your story, man. It sounds like very intense, and going through that is man. I mean, we can hear you, So we appreciate you very much, and this stuff is so cool.
Adam, if you guys want to hear it, Adam, if this is okay to say, I had Adam on my podcast, and he talked about a more in depth a lot of the story, everything. If you guys want to hear it.
That's cool. I didn't know you had a podcast, Dave. I want to listen.
Yeah. Oh man.
Cool.
It's called Musician Mindset.
Oh, awesome.
We're not on Spotify, but it's on iTunes. If you go on iTunes, look up Musician Mindset and look up the Adam Gust episode, and you'll hear a lot of amazing stuff from him.
Cool. Very cool. I was going to say, like, I'm really into cycling, and it's like you measure everything is measurable to get your efficiency, you know, to where you need it to, you know, use the least amount of energy, but perform your best, or know when to put forth your most energy, like in a race, you know. So they're measuring your heart rate, they're measuring your cadence, they're measuring your speed, they're measuring your power meter, all of that stuff. And I always wondered, like, you know, this is very active what we do on the drums. Why isn't this stuff as important? You know, especially I look at drummers like Thomas Lang and Virgil Donati, and those are like very physical, very precise drummers, you know, that are, and I'm always like, how do they get, it's almost like they're professional athletes, you know, like it's like the amount of intensity that they put into their drumming is like a professional cyclist, where it's like, I mean, and I don't know if they're doing that kind of, but I'm sure that the studies that you're doing, wow, man, you could completely revolutionize the drum industry.
Fuck, dude. What's weird is, so May 6th, thank you, man. Thank you for letting me talk about this. It's been such a personal thing for so long, and I'm just now feeling like I can even talk about it and not just like lose it. So yeah, I'm just trying to work up to that level of, I can actually talk and make sentences, but man,
it's so sorry to interject, but it's please. For drummers like us, and I'm speaking for the whole room, but I'm sure you guys feel the same way. We need to hear you. You know, you need you know, it's like it's very powerful. The stuff that you're saying and your experiences that you shared is like, we're happy to hear you.
Oh, cool, man. I'd love to give one takeaway. I always feel like, man, I always want to have one little tidbit or whatever. So there's this thing I've been thinking. I try to talk to Dave about it. I've been writing about it, but this idea of like learning and stress and healing. And so you have this triangle, and I'm trying to figure this triangle out, because, okay, we have drum education, that's the learning, and that obviously, that's towards stress. Like all we're doing, we did now, we're stressing our bodies. We're like making these kind of obstacles for us to overcome and achieve physically and mentally and temporally, sonically, all this emotionally. And so, okay, we're stressing. And then there's a relationship between stress and healing. And that seems like basic to human beings. Like we have to have resilience. We have to be able to heal the stress. Like after an injury, or like in the minute of being stressed, you have to be able to soothe yourself emotionally. So there's that relationship. And so then wait a minute, we have this other one, which is between healing and drum education. And like, where are we on that spectrum? Where are we on that continuum? And so I've been looking for that, because it's been key to my life fucking survival, to like try to figure out how to like learn how to play drums and heal, because it was all it was doing was giving me this relationship, and I've been looking for this relationship, and I just don't see it. And so when I've talked to people about it, there are a lot of closed doors trying to bring this into the kind of current climate of drum education. So
I think you found the right platform, man, because all of us have stories. You know, I had a horrific injury that I'll talk about on another day, but on my kick drum foot, nerve damage, the whole thing, and I've had drumming has really helped me to, first of all, physically heal from that, and then Daryl's talked about addiction and stuff like that. So we all I think we all have a lot to share, and continuing on.
I have a thought about what you were just mentioning, Adam, the healing and the education part. Just as something I've been thinking about recently, like, because drumming can be stressful because you want to do good at it. We judge ourselves against other drummers, and this is a side piece, but I don't even know when metronomes were invented, but it was long after drumming wasn't. People have been drumming for many thousands of years, and our sense of time, if we evaluate our sense of time off of a metronome, it's like, are we in time or are we not? And I think everything that you were just saying is really cool, because you have your heartbeat, your breathing, and then you're playing. It's like 3 different times. But as far as the drum education, we train ourselves and we stress ourselves so that we can express ourselves on the drums more. The more skill we have, then like, my favorite part of drumming is when my mind goes blank and I'm just like completely
Yeah, man.
It's like you're having an out-of-body experience. And the more you stress yourself by training your hands and your limbs to like express in the littlest nuances, like the most delicate, like lightest playing, or just like smashing your drums, like whatever you need to put in, get out. The training stress part just allows you to like completely let go and just do whatever you need to do. That's how I feel.
Man, yeah, that's totally it. You all see the movie Soul? You see that?
Yeah.
That description of flow is just so good. And there's a neurobiological description of how to enter that state. There are physiological cues. There are practices you can do to get into that and access it when you want it. And I'm just like, give me more of that. Who the fuck is talking about that? And I don't see it. So yeah, man, it's so cool that you guys are open to that, because it's fucking hard to talk to drummers about healing. Like I've had some crazy conversations like, what? You don't think what you do is stressful and you need to raise your resilience to stress to stay in this flow state? And like they use maladaptive methods, coping mechanisms to do that. And, we don't need to get into what those are. We all know. And it's like, no, like you can shed those if you understand how to control your emotional state. And it's calculable.
That is so great. This is exactly like, it's just awesome. This is like well, we can get into it another time, but just briefly, like what I'm always saying is, I would love to be put in that stress of that most of us feel when another drummer is in the room that we don't know, and we have to feel like we have to perform and they're scrutinizing you, even though they're probably not. But that pressure that we put on ourselves, that pressure, that feeling that we get where suddenly we just can't play. And that's why I talk about acceptance and belonging so much, that like when you push that feeling aside and you finally feel like I'm accepted in my community, it doesn't matter what that guy thinks, I accept myself, I belong here. Then you can like perform, you can play, you can learn, it's like it breaks down that barrier. And so, that's really interesting. It's really interesting.
Oh, dude, that's so somatic experiencing practitioners teach you how to belong in your body and find that medium between your thought and your feeling. And instead of them conflicting and fucking shit up, they work great together. Yeah. And so there's like this whole imposter syndrome class I was taking on how that exists sociologically and how that affects our psychology and biology, and how you can recondition your nervous system to feel like you belong at the drums. And there's like physical cues. So I'm applying for certification for this practitionership. I'd be the first drummer to ever apply. It's been all like therapists. And so, and I kind of had a breakthrough with it. I made a connection with this trauma therapist who has a podcast, and I'm going to be on it May 6th. And I'm just like, fuck, are you kidding me? I'm going to talk to a bunch of like somatic practitioners about what I'm doing. I'm kind of freaked out. So
there's the drummer coming out.
Yeah. So I'm like, first thing, drop into my body, do grace. Yeah. Grace is grounding, relaxation, awareness, centered, embodied. Okay, do that. You can like it's called the felt sense. You just do a check on your body, see where you are. Oh, my heart rate's a little up. Breathe a little deeper. Oh, I feel it. I'm breathing a little shallower. 3-dimensional breathing exercises. Oh, my stomach's a little upset. Adjust my centeredness. Make sure I'm like even on the floor. You do this check. And like when the drummer walks in the room, what happens? Your heart rate goes up. Your breathing gets shallow. No, okay, he's there. She's there. Do the check, make sure that emotionally you're within that range of resilience. So you're not going above and you don't dip into, oblivion, which is kind of this freeze response. And
oh my gosh,
it's all like totally calculated. So yeah, I want to apply this idea of measuring drums to the certification for the trauma therapy.
You're going to absolutely kill that, man. You're going to absolutely kill that. It's what the drum world needs, man. That you just need some open-minded drummers.
That's synchronistic.
Wait, Adam and I were just talking yesterday about I'm going over there on Saturday, and we were talking about like hooking up the heart rate thing to me and measuring stuff. And I said, well, I'm probably going to do fine because I'm hanging out with my buddy at his house. Like, but what you need to recreate is like, Corey, what you were saying, it would be a different story when I'm on the gig and like my monitor goes out and the singer's yelling at you and another drum walks in. Like,
dude,
you got to be able to create those kind of like
and you can, because what happens is there's this noise in your system, and that's the deepest part, is there's noise in your body but you have a action you want to create with your mind, your motor nerves send messages to your muscles and you accomplish the action, but it's micromanaging your body because there's all this other shit attached from the mind, from thought and your psychology and your whatever you have attached to what you're doing. And what that is activates more muscle response than is necessary. So if you're constantly like just meticulously practicing only engaging the muscles that are necessary for the action, when you get on stage and your heart rate's going, instead of that noise going through your body and creating unnecessary tension, making your tempo rush, making all these, sound, space, time, emotion, all these things get amplified. If you are really honed in on only what you have to do the action, that's all you do. I mean, then you're just in this sympathetic response where you're hyped up, you're fucking into it, and your body is relaxed and still doing what you were doing when you were practicing. But if you don't explore that noise, which gets emotional and spiritual and it's fucking deep, but we got to do it before we wind up on our deathbeds, guys. I mean, fucking, I promise you, it's so important. And if we do it in this petri dish of the drums and explore all these measurable physiological actions, we can get to that. We can just get to that point where no matter where we are, we just know that we're not micromanaging our body by privileging the mind. I mean,
Love it.
I feel like I've got that. Man, I know that sounds so egotistical. I feel like I've touched that here. Like I've been just in my cave working on this. There are moments that I feel like I can just think it and it comes out and it's effortless.
So great.
Anyway, I'm super jazzed on it.
I think we all I am too, man. That's really, really cool. I would love to have you on I have 2 podcasts, man. I would love to have you on and chat more about this. I have one in particular that's a little bit more focused and a little bit more. I'll email or whatever. We'll chat it out. But
okay.
Someday I would love to. That would be really cool, man. And then any of you guys are all welcome to come on the Drum Brigade podcast. It's just a hangout session morning show. So you guys the door is always open for any of you guys. But anyways, man. Amazing conversation today. Really like enlightening and really great. Adam, thank you for joining us today, man. Really appreciate it. I really appreciate all the stuff that you said and shared.
Man, thank you so much. This is the watering hole. Like what I was talking like this. I mean, seriously, that's the hardest part, is for small groups of people to get together and talk about things that aren't in the cave and they're not on a campfire. And so this has just been amazing. I love, man, and that's totally embodiment, like warming up the body in the morning. This is right on point, dude. Love what you're doing.
Like-minded people. I love that too. So it's really cool, man. Somebody said, I don't remember who it was, but I think it was you, Brian, that said, it's chops and coffee. It's what's in between the sips or something like that. It's like today was definitely one of those days, man, where I feel like, we did some warm-ups, but that's secondary.
I don't know if I said that. I don't want to take credit if somebody else said it, but it's good.
Yeah, it's good.
I think that was me, but
Jeffrey said it. Yeah,
I didn't trademark it though, so don't worry.
That needs to be on the shirt, man.
But the imposter syndrome, wasn't that, Jeff? Did you post that the other day in the?
Yeah, I posted it because it made sense with what we were talking about. But
with
Tolson was the one that actually.
It was his saying, yeah, and then
I just posted his quote.
That's a big mindset thing right now. Like a lot of people are talking about that, or in like business too, like having like.
Dude, I'm telling you, trauma therapy has it down. Like
really?
Just go to traumahealing.org and just see what they're doing. I mean, there's Qigong, there's embodiment, there's systems theory. There's the founder has a PhD in neurobiology and psychology, and so that's what his thing is. It's fucking amazing.
That's
yeah.
Very cool. All right, guys. Well, amazing chops and coffee. Dave, thank you too for inviting Adam and always telling people about it. Really appreciate it. Everybody that, I appreciate everybody participating in this and joining us today. Everybody streaming with us live. Thank you guys as well for streaming and hanging out with us chops and coffee style this morning. If anyone wants to join Chops and Coffee, please just use the link on drumbrigade.com and we'll welcome you in this chat room or whatever you want to call it, this Zoom meeting. So, all right, guys. So yeah, everything that you need to know, drumbrigade.com. And then, Adam, do you have a website or anything that people can, if they want to learn more about what you're saying?
Oh man, thank you. Yeah, well, my YouTube's the best right now. I've been a super hermit, like just trying to work on my shit before I try to get in unison with anyone else. Like I got to get my unison together. So yeah, I've been populating my YouTube page a bit, but that's about it.
Cool. Yeah, and everybody in this room, I'm sure everybody has their stuff that they're working on. So I don't want to like not promote you guys as well, but like, you know, you're always welcome to promote anything that you're working on or anything like that. Anything.
Do people put stuff in the chat, PDFs or anything? Or
we on Instagram, yeah, like you can just post whatever you want on the chat, and
I'll add Adam to the Instagram chat.
Okay, yeah, please.
Oh, okay, that'd cool. Yeah, that'd be so awesome if we could just like write shit out, take a picture, and post it, and like. Yeah.
That's what everybody does. Everybody shares whatever, and it's we just try to keep it like we don't like to post, you know, like politics and you know, there's some of the kids students are in there and stuff, so we try to keep like inappropriate stuff off. But everything, we haven't had that problem at all, so everybody's cool. All right, guys, thank you so much again, and we'll see everybody on Friday. I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you guys then.
All right. Thanks.
All right, y'all. See you Friday.
Later.